Work with you.
Right guys, good evening and welcome, and apologies for the fact that we'll have to have this extra meeting because I made a mistake. I thought I'd sent the invitations out, but they were sitting in my draft box. For some unknown reason it hadn't actually sent, so we really need to have a meeting to go over all the things that weren't officially done in September because the meeting wasn't official. And there's some other things that have come up from other parishes that we just need to start and think about how we're going to deal with them and consider where we go from here. So apologies for absence. We've got Karen and Adam
And Hazel.
and Hazel, yes. Anybody got any declarations of interest in the agenda that follows? No? Okay, now cast your minds back. I know it's a long way. August the 22nd. We need to re-approve the minutes of August
Attach them just
the
attach these
22nd. And then also the meeting that we had on the 28th. So when we met in September in our meeting that wasn't official, there wasn't anything that came up at that point, but has there been anything that's jumped to mind since? So are we all right with the ones from the 22nd?
Yes.
Lovely. And the ones in November the 28th, which was our last meeting. Where are we with regards to how everybody is recollecting as whether they're a true record or not? I like the bullshit instead of the bugle.
I know. Have I not meant that?
The bulger.
The bulger.
We've got the bulger, yes. But that's a typo, it's nothing, isn't it? Okay, all right. Lovely, thank you. Get my item that's sensible. Sing it. Okay, so financial statement to the 31st of December.
Just print off in the cash book.
So is this transformed yet or not?
Yes, it's inscribed.
Oh,
Yeah, it's starting to come alive. I've just had my hierarchy of approved. It's been folded, so that's good.
So at this point, 31st of December, the parish contributions are anticipated at 6,000, and we have 5,304.
The invoices have gone out.
The invoices have gone out.
Yeah. I sent out an invoice to Felton, to Lisa last week.
Is it just theirs that's not?
I've chased up with Jan as well. Yes, to make sure, because the invoice that was sent out at the beginning of the year contained 2 payments within the one invoice. It requested 50% up front and then 50% in September. So if the September one's not come through, it's being chased. Yeah. So but both payments are contained in the same
We've
invoice.
paid some Felton meter now.
We've transferred ours. Yes, we have. Yeah.
Anybody got any comments or questions or anything on there that they'd like to lovely, thank you.
Janet confirms that, yes.
That's good. Well, I'll give you surface first.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, is everybody happy to receive the financial statement that's done? Sorry, Grace, okay.
When is your next meeting, sorry?
Sorry?
When is your next meeting? Is it March?
Yeah.
March,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So in time for the year end, yeah?
Yeah. It's March.
That rings a bell. I'm sure that's what this is saying.
Yeah.
That's on our agenda, actually.
Is it, yeah. Sorry.
It wasn't that bad a financial statement, was it? Happy?
Yeah.
Can we just have a quick show of hands to receive the financial statement? Thank you very much. Any payments made since our last meeting in November?
At the back there.
Good.
From the back, very back sheet. Of your pile.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Charlie, can I just use that? That's
Yeah,
there.
of course, yeah.
The payment for 316 production has gone up and up and up, hasn't it? It seems to be now escalating.
With it. Okay.
I mean, they're essential, we need them, I think, for the remembrance service. But it might be when we come to start planning next year, maybe shopping around a little.
Okay.
As I say, I have no complaints about the service whatsoever, but price is just starting to escalate a little bit.
Prices are going up because very good bits of equipment that he provides.
I think that's good value.
And he's there around the period of time, you know, he does a number of hours. It's not just the actual service itself, it's all setting up and all taking down. Everybody happy with the payments and happy to agree there? Yes?
Yep.
Great. Action? Thank you. Now then, going back to the September meeting, we looked at the charges that we were charging in the year 2023, 24.
Sorry, I haven't got that copy of the
It's the one there that we wrote on. So effectively what we had on the piece of paper, I don't know whether you can oversee Greg's viewing, was the prices that we actually had up displayed in the cemetery notice board, and we looked at the retail price index and how it had affected the prices and things. And then we redid the new prices according to what happened for the ones that have gone up. So apart from the fact that we missed the bench plaque off, which we added on, and that we rounded up the burial plot to 580, which was a £15 increase on what it had been, we didn't really change anything other than that sort of retail price index rise, which seemed to be fair and less than a lot of other people are doing in cemeteries round about. Because I mean, we want to remain competitive, and if people want to be buried, you know, it's a beautiful cemetery, it hopefully would be their cemetery of choice, and it's not too expensive to put it out of the pocket of people from anywhere now, because we've got the same price for inside and outside, haven't we? So the bench plaque was priced at £75. So that's comparable to the wall plaques at 115 and a grade plaque at 170. So it's quite a good value to have one put on the bench rather than the wall necessarily, which I think we've driven too many holes in the wall. Given the way that the ground is working at the moment and the freeze floor is taking a toll. So is everybody okay just to approve those prices again? Yeah, thank you. All right, brings us to the Cemetery Parks report. Have you heard anything?
I spoke to Hazel yesterday, she had nothing to report, all quiet time of year. We had a payment of £560 in just in the last few days from the recent burial, but other than that she had nothing to report.
Right. I think we were just going to think about when we get to our April meeting, we're thinking of all the jobs that we're going to start and tackle, weren't we? When the weather's more clement, and certainly not tomorrow when we've got wind force, whatever coming through. We certainly do want to be thinking about the things then. I'd like to just defer income and things down to point 10, because obviously we've said about the money that's coming in, but you know, thinking about how we can generate income is back in number 10 agenda number. So if we can talk about that at that point, please. Works is just ongoing, checking of headstones, not a lot of mowing obviously at this point in the year. We did talk about getting some path treatment and making sure that the algae and stuff was taken off, and I'm not sure how far that's progressed, but with all the frost and the ice that we've had, it probably has limited its growth to an extent. So maybe that needs to be flagged up, ready for the early spring, so that it's done, so when people visit, sort of, you know, February onwards, it's the paths are a little less slippery in places. Anybody else got anything they would like to add regarding works?
Maybe anything that hasn't already been touched previously.
Okay. I have to say there's a few headstones that are getting quite sort of wobbly, not wobbly to the point where they're dangerous, but we're going to have to think about how we deal with some of the headstones, because we've now got a lot that have been unsafe and have been dismantled and just piled, you know, and it's difficult tracing family and relations for some of the older ones where they've been established in the cemetery for quite a long time, and some of the bigger graves with the sort of surrounds around where the gravel's in, we noticed sort of sinkholes and things like that. So it might be that we need to have a sort of proper inspection and a list of works to be carried out, but bearing in mind that, you know, do we employ somebody, do we use our own cemetery groundsman, or what do we do with that? So that's something, if you could be thinking about, guys, would be great. The War Memorial, I haven't heard any more about the stonemason, having a look to see whether that fault is a problem or not.
No. Who's in touch with stonemason?
Jenna.
Okay.
She was the one that raised the fact that it was potentially an issue, given that we haven't any knowledge of it from the previous visit from our person. So we'll see where we get to with that. Certainly I took the weeds out just to stop the growth into the gap between the top bit and the middle section. So it seemed to be very watertight. I mean, it's good strong stone, it's not going to disappear overnight. So yeah, so literally that's an ongoing watch, isn't it? Map of the cemetery. I don't presume that the weather's been good
No,
enough to be able
still
to
on
get
That is
grown up.
we'll get that map, get that
Yeah.
drawn up.
It'll be better to have those than a Google Earth image, won't it?
Well, I hope
Because
so.
I tried to do sort of just a quick plan using the Google Earth image about a month ago, and
You can't,
it's not, you
no,
can't see them, you can't see them well enough. No. You kind of know where they are,
Yeah.
but you can't see them well enough to actually use it as a map. I've got from Hazel one of the cemetery leaflets. So it's a picture of the cemetery, as you can see, and it's an information booklet, and inside it has just generally information for various people, how the parish council look after the cemetery, the fact that it's a joint thing, monies are necessary, so have to charge, blah blah blah. Things like no large stone containers can be sited on the surface of the grave, no plastic flowers, toys of any kind can be on the graves, no flowers to be laid under the plaques situated on the cemetery walls. It's just things that make our maintenance much more difficult if people do. So, I know the last time we were there, we were picking up plastic flowers from heaven only knows where, because the wind had just strewn them all over. And then it's got the current charges up to March 25, so we need to revisit those and get those in. And just generally update the information, so if you want to have a look, if you can think of anything else that might need to be in there, the contact details are on the back. And
Is this a new thing?
no, it's the one, it's already in the cemetery notice board.
Right, yeah,
It's the one that we use every year.
right. And it's
And
given to, right.
We just felt it needed updating.
Right.
There's an awful lot of written stuff in it.
It's not given to prospective customers.
Well, yes, I think it is, in which case I think we might need to make it more user friendly.
Yes, that's what
Certainly it's circulated around all the undertakers in the area that use and come to us. And it's in the notice board there, which is why we talked about having the map, you know, so that people could use it as a guide to the cemetery as well as hopefully a sort of selling tool, you know, look how lovely this cemetery is, would you like to end your days there sort of thing. So yeah, so that's kind of an ongoing thing. So if we can maybe think about what we would like, if I send, I'll have to get it digitised, I'll have a digital copy.
Should I scan it and email it to the parish?
You could do, that would be really helpful if you would. If we could get a digital copy and then if you could all, you know, chat to your other councillors, chat to your clerks, see what information they would like to make sure is in there, and then we can get it up and ready and in the notice board from beginning of March. Okay? So that's a scan and circulate. I mean, if there's any major changes, it might be that we need to have another meeting just to agree them all. But if it's majorly just the same with maybe a few more photographs or, you know, leaving space ready for a plan to go in there at some later date, it's possibly that we just agree it by email or something. Which brings us to number 10. You've got an instrumental role here, please, because this has come from Felton to talk about different things to do with cemetery strategy. So do you want to give us your insight into what's meant and what's going on?
just been sort of flagged up that the income isn't what it used to be, but the expenditure is
Going up.
going up. It was basically just to find out what strategies there are, or what there may be.
Well, I've got
Going
a
forward.
Kalashnikov in the garage. Don't tell anybody.
Sorry?
I've got a Kalashnikov in the garage. Don't tell anybody. No, seriously. We do need to think about it. We've had a couple of lean years. It's been a bit better this year than previous.
I mean, is it
It is cyclical. It does go up and down. But without word of mouth,
presumably it's also because of the
yes, since the Krem opened, it's absolutely, it has taken our business away. And you can understand it, it's fabulous down there. But you know, we have got a cemetery that some people still choose to and want to be buried in, rather than being cremated, and that's their right. While it's in our parishes, obviously we need to do as much as we can to increase our income, make people aware of the fact that it's there.
Seal.
Buy
Seal.
one, get one free. Yeah, we just dig a bit deeper.
Seal of plots.
The sale of plots. I mean, you know, do we need an article in a local parish magazine, or do we need more leaflets, a leaflet drop, or, you know, do we need a more, I mean, Hazel does contact all the undertakers, and,
Within the Gazette or something like that, about the beautiful cemetery that we have.
yeah,
And it is.
it is.
You know, when you look at the others, you know, overgrown and covered in weeds and what have you, whereas it's the jewel in the crown for this part of Northumberland, I think.
Well, certainly it's you know, very well commented on by all sorts of visitors from all over, and you know, we can be rightly proud when we do compare them with other cemeteries that it is beautifully kept. But perhaps we're maybe too beautifully kept. You know, it's a difficult one. So, I mean, there's the question here, does the committee continue running the cemetery with a plan of how it will increase the income and reduce expenditure, or do we look at handing over to the cemetery to NCC? Now, if the cemetery was full and closed, NCC would take over looking after it. But because it's a live cemetery, we're in a kind of different situation, and I'm not sure what the situation is. I'd have to do some checking as to whether they would be open to taking on. The advantages would be that the parishes wouldn't have that to worry about. We'd still have a war memorial and that sort of side of things to look after. So we'd still end up with a sort of little subcommittee of joint parishes to do that. So that would be an advantage, that we wouldn't have that. The disadvantage, though, is that we would have absolutely no say in how it was looked or kept or anything.
You would get a fine income for grass cuts per.
You would, yeah, and that would be it. And then we would also have to pay a professional to come and check the stones on an 18-month or an annual basis, I can't remember. So that would be an extra expense. But NCC would charge us, each of us, to maintain it. Now, are we better to keep a person employed in the village doing a job and have that money stay in the village or go out to?
Don't get people can afford it.
Well, yeah.
That's the top line. It'd be very nice to, but there may be.
Start the point would be to try and get an indication of what the charges back from NCC would be.
Well, that's what we need to do a bit of digging. But given that we don't have our next meeting till April, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to report back to you guys in March. But we'll try and see what we can find out from NCC about whether they would be able to take it on and consider taking it on.
So the process might be involved, you know, there are that we go through.
So yeah, so that's something that we certainly can look at. The other thing is we could perhaps look at how many hours are spent and whether we could reduce it slightly. You know, it would be good to have Hazel here to give us an idea of where jobs were absolutely necessary and where we would lose them. I mean, the sort of backfilling of some of the graves and things is a job that Peter does that perhaps we should say to the guy, the local grave digger, you need to come back and sort them out. You know, rather than.
What would pay you is the complete job.
But I mean, there's always your imagined shrinkage, but ours are coming up that look like they're still below. It's not a nice thought, is it? But yeah, I mean, some of the ones that have been done recently by the local, the land is prone to having underwater running through, and so some of them are sinking and some of them are coming up, so it's a bit iffy really. But Peter has done a very good job of using the soil and spoil that comes out when the grave's done and is dumped at the back of the cemetery to fill and relay and reseed where we need to. You know, and those sort of things, if we went to NCC, I doubt would be done. It would just be a case of it would be done and left and that would be it. And the other thing that may well happen is if NCC are digging or taking over, they'll dig the graves and they'll use a digger, which is going to tear up in and out of the cemetery. But as you say, price is everything, isn't it? You know? So are you guys okay if we investigate with NCC and see what happens? And then we'll come back with a report as to what's happening and what potential the pros and cons are from there. Okay, that's...
It might be that we can look at reducing the area of cut Peter does, and so just reduce time rather than
doing it all.
But he doesn't mow it all, he just mows so far. And then Royal Oak come in twice a year to do the back bit, that's the hay meadow. Yeah. So I mean, we could maybe just let that be done on I think it probably needs twice a year, but I mean, I'm not an expert on grass cutting, so that might be something we could again ask expertise about.
Let's have a chat, please.
And see if we can do something.
I think the meadows sort of area back, probably get away with discussing that once into August, September or something like that.
That's when we get most complaints if we cut it. You know, from
When you look at
the insects and
new
bees.
crown, that it's bottom field, it's not cut at all. Up there, it's all wildflowers.
But even to keep wildflowers, don't you need to
Develop
do
that,
some maintenance?
Yeah,
That's what you
that's
have
what
to
we need
do.
annual.
You've got to do some and move certain bits and things. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth exploring whether we can go down from the two cuts to the one. It's not a huge amount of money, but every
Do they
Maybe
just,
£10.
do they just cut it and leave it on the ground, or do they cut
I
and
think the cut and mold, yeah, cut and mold, I think it just stays on the ground. Not 100% sure, to be honest. I think it's been lying there and I've been up, it's been cut. One of those things, you just
Honestly, no, when it happens, it's a bit hard to.
don't look and think about it. I mean, a lot of the trees, we've had tree work done, and a lot of the trees are now fairly stable and in good shape, so there's not going to be need to have a lot of tree work done. That's a bonus, that's what's expensive. So yeah, so let's just have a look and we'll do a bit of rationalisation, we'll have a look at what's actually done, how Peter does things, and see if we can do a sort of a revised plan, yeah, and you know, you've got so many hours this month, please don't go above it. Right. 10B. To discuss history of the new cemetery budget and agree any actions. The new cemetery budget is one of the pots that we wanted to put into general reserves because 10,000, to be perfectly honest, is not going to buy us anywhere near anything that's suitable when we get to the point that that's full. Given that it's filling at a slower rate than normal, we haven't actually put any money in the cemetery fund, the new cemetery fund, for I think 3 or 4 years. Certainly before my time on the cemetery committee, that fund was there added to on an annual basis. So it wasn't a donation, it wasn't somebody's specific bequeathment, it was just literally the money that was in the budget at the end of the year that was, superfluous, was swiped into the new cemetery fund. So, could you report that back to your councillors, please?
Yep.
And then if they're happy, get their approval that we move that fund just into general reserves, and then that will give us more money to be able to use to keep the cemetery ticking over and ask for less from the parishes. 10C, review the policies and procedures and agree any actions. There are a number of policies and procedures that we have for the cemetery committee that we really do need to look at. They're all on the website, so if you could make an action for the next meeting to actually look at them all, and then we'll sign them all off in our April meeting, if that's acceptable to everybody.
They're in one place on the website.
Yes, they're all under Felton and Joint Cemetery Committee policies and procedures. So again, if you can direct your fellow councillors to also cast an eye in case anybody's got an interest in burning ambitions to change your policy. That would be good. That's a couple of little things that I think just need rewording or just looking at, and certainly in light of perhaps the potential of moving our commitments away and get handed to NCC, we might need to change quite a considerable amount because it will only then be the one or more that we'll be working with. But that's the policies and procedures. Is there anything anybody else wants to say regarding policies and procedures or anything? I'm so sorry, I'm giving you work. Yeah. So there's the leaflet we're going to be working on, and also those policies and procedures to do a bit of reading and sort of commenting on, and then we'll bring them back as a final one for everybody in April's meeting. Any urgent matters arising? Anybody got anything urgently that they need to discuss? I'm hoping that the wind tomorrow will not be in such a direction that it causes us grief with the trees.
It won't be as bad as some parts of the country.
No, we're lucky in
not
some
too
ways,
much,
aren't we?
I've just received a request to review the insurance of Davidson's obelisk.
Oh,
I
yes.
think it's not the first time it's come up in the meeting.
But it is,
That just
see,
needs
that's,
action.
isn't that Felton and
Felton and Newton.
Newton,
Yeah.
not
It's
cemeteries?
not the
Oh, sorry, it's
It's
either
not,
it's not
it's not a monument,
part of the cemetery.
it's a monument,
But
not
it's
part of the
Not-
cemetery
Right,
the
okay.
cemetery
jurisdiction,
itself,
yeah. But yeah, we,
No worries, you take that.
we did talk about it quite a while ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And certainly, I
So just
remember
trying to
that
go for a more realistic.
Claire-
Cost, yeah.
So-
Claire said that she did it as a
From the
pro
rest of
rata sort of thing across all the things that we had
That's
insured.
right, yes.
But given the war memorials insured for something, I mean, it's got a monetary value, but effectively it's zero as a value. You know, I think we do need to look at it, so if we could just ask our insurers.
I am. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I've gone to the wrong.
It's fine, it would be good, because then,
Yeah.
you know, we can
Yes, absolutely.
get back to Newton quite quickly and say this is where we are with it. We have discussed at previous Felton Parish Council meeting, I know this isn't part of it all, just generally renovating the whole area up there because the barge boards that hold the gravel are disintegrating and it just generally needs a lot. It needs a lot of TLC. So I know that the property management group have discussed it at length and it was brought up, wasn't it, as part of a report in our meeting. yeah, so the monument's there. So, are there any items for the agenda then for our next meeting, apart from all the things that
All the things that-
we've just shunted down to the bottom of the list? Yeah. So we've got the leaflet, we've got policies and procedures, we've got the map, potentially we might have had some drone footage at that point. Hopefully we'll get feedback from the stonemasons about the quality of the stone and that fracture on the war memorial. And just general
And just
cemetery.
wait till the meeting to decide on a work party day for
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah, I don't think we can get our crystal balls out at this point
Yeah.
and work out when it's going to be fine, can we? Because we're going to empty
Yeah.
the grot.
Get that done.
Oh, yes, that pile, that's the photos pile.
Oh, and the other thing is we need to discuss the fact that somebody's popping stuff over the wall again.
So we're going to write to the.
So we were going to write to them, weren't we, the residents?
Name and shame.
Well, we could, but we don't know exactly. It's
Right.
kind of
It's a
between.
really street, wasn't it? It was
It's kind of between two gardens, so we can't really name a shame because we can't work out exactly who it
Garden
was.
waste, I think.
Yeah, it's just trimmings off trees
Yeah.
and bushes and things, and obviously rather than get them in their compost bin or whatever, they're just lobbing them over the top. It's not as if they've cut something back and it's dropped.
Yeah.
You know, it's not accidental, it's more, there are piles of rubbish that people are using the cemetery as a repository for. So, did we do a letter for the peeps?
No.
So we would need to get together with that. So do we do that one before we get to April, so that when we start gardening, we don't get,
Probably worth doing, isn't it?
yeah, so that would go under an urgent matter then, so the refuse over the wall. And work out how many houses there are that back on the cemetery.
It's at Davidson Road.
There's that, yeah. And just pop one to each door and say we're really sorry we don't intend to inflict grief on anybody, but somebody's doing this. Okay, so our next meeting, according to the date on here, is the 24th. How does that fall, Louise?
It's just late on this year.
That's what I'm just
January,
thinking.
probably. Might be just before Good Friday or something, is it?
Well,
Good
that's what I'm-
Friday's before.
that's just what I'm wondering.
Yeah, Good Friday's before.
Sunday before.
Yeah.
20th of April.
That's the Friday before.
Right. Oh, so we're okay to
Friday
have
the
that.
18th is.
That will be the week of Easter Monday then.
Yes, that's right.
Is everybody around that week?
Yeah.
So will we be correct? Or do we need to perhaps look at the date and just see there's a bit of flexibility given that Easter is when it is?
Wasn't it on time?
I'm around.
I think I'm fine. But that's
Yeah.
not, are you around?
Yes, it will be my last time. I'm
You're not standing
not
there?
standing there in these.
Okay.
Sorry?
Right, so April the 24th at the moment is the date of our next meeting, all things being considered, we should be great. So that's good. Well, thank you all very much for your attendance, guys.
You want this back?
I'll take that, please, I'll scan and send it over to you.